State of Survival, State 469, Cat Alliance, Dr.Dementia. Hey, everybody. Before we get started, I'd like to say, please, if you find this video slightly informative, a little informative, worth watching, hit the like button below. That would really help me a lot. And subscribe. That would help me even more. Plus, feel free to share this. And in turn, also, I really look forward to your comments. So today we're going to talk about 10 different things that make or break your reasoning on how and why to merge. And I think it's really important, and that this is a very good time for everyone to pay a little bit of attention and then apply a lot of thought to merging and mergers between alliances. So, merging. Guess what? It's not a question of if you should merge. It's really a question of when you should merge. If you are not in the top 8 or 9 alliances in your state, you need to start working on mergers. And there's a reason for this. When you look at, and I have all my notes here, so you can see me looking down. So if you look at our most recent capital clash, you're going to find out that as the powerful get more powerful, the weaker the gap between the more powerful players and the less powerful players gets bigger and bigger. And even though we have a relatively friendly, nice, cohesive state, we've got state versus state coming, and we've got state mergers coming. Sometime within the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to have a whole slew of new people, and they're not going to be survivors. They're going to be people that have grown already from other states, or we're going to be transported into another state, or some sort of equivalency. King's Group has not come out and said exactly what a merger consists of. But with that being said, mergers are important for the future. And they're important because of 3 things mostly. There are some nuances to this, but realistically, there are 3 legs to this entire problem. The first one is power in of itself, having the power to defend yourself. The second one is having the experienced players that know how to apply that power and use it. All right. And then the final one is, being able to be a cohesive unit. So what stops people from merging? Why is it such a big deal? Why shouldn't it just happen? Well, mergers don't happen for a couple of reasons. First off, it's power. And I don't mean battle power. I mean, it's the alliance and its leaders don't want to give up their power. So merging becomes a question of who controls what and how do we do things. When you have people that have spent 3 to 6 months building up an alliance and they've done a moderate job, they're less than a top 10, okay? And they've grown a community, it's very hard for them to give that up. But if they don't, if they're not willing to compromise and work together, then quite frankly, everybody beneath them is suffering. And the reason that they're suffering is real simple. these large players, they can go into capital clash, and they can go into state versus state, and they can go into bunkers and fortresses, and they can grab points and rewards. But if you only have one or two rally leaders, you're limited. I mean, there's no way you take mid and keep it and hold it during capital clash in our state if you're, not even in the top 4. Okay? If you can only have one rally leader and you take only one tower, well, what happens to all those little guys? Where do they get points? How do they survive? Well, you're just screwing them, really, for your own personal gain. Even though you may try and include them, because you're not part of a larger concept, you're just screwing them. All right? Start the process of merging now. You've got to start talking to people now. All right? You've got to start, because, at the least, you've got 3 months. And in 3 months, you're nobody. So you better start recruiting in bigger players, or you better become part of a bigger picture. Simple. I mean, you don't want to hear these things, and I apologize that you have to hear it from me. Okay? But this is the reality. This is the evolution of the game and the evolution of the state. You can't just play within your own little sandbox. We're going to put another sandbox beside you. And quite frankly, you can't be a farmer and not have support from a much larger group. It is not going to happen. And the reason that they're doing state mergers is exactly that way. It's because the disparity between the small and the big have gotten so far, and is going to continue to be so far, that they've got to bring other people together, because the farmers just leave. They die off. Look at it yourself. I can point I can point at a half a dozen alliances in 469 that are not in the top 10, where a third of their membership and battle power are dead accounts. They just won't clear out the dead account because they don't want to lose their position. So you need to start that now, all right? And what are the things that you have to look at when you do that? And to make my point a little bit more clear, in my next video, I'm going to actually show you the difference in my stats pre-T11 and post-T11. And you're going to see, for those of you that are free to play, just how desperate you're going to need protection, because it's ugly. It's very, very ugly. So what are the things you look at? Well, when you look at an alliance, you need to start to exclude a few things. And one of the things you need to exclude is xenophobic alliances. Now, I have nothing against an alliance like Pole, or the Italians, or the Polish, or whatever. But when you're a small nationality, which they are, all right, they don't have a majority of players. And they have a majority of players that they do have are free to play. We have a French alliance, we have a Polish alliance, we have an Indonesian alliance. There's no hope for them in the future. No offense, but you got to face reality, okay? You need to own up. Don't take that as a rude statement. You need to look at what reality brings you. You don't merge, you're going to die. And for those of you that wait too long to make your move to a bigger alliance or to merge your own alliance, there'll be no room for you at the table when the shit hits the fan and the states merge. It's life. That's just the way it is. If you don't plan for the future, you're destined to repeat the failures of the past. So, alliances that don't operate on a 24/7 basis, alliances that are xenophobic and only want people from their own nationality in there, these are oftentimes alliances that portray the exact issues that we're talking about. 469 is big enough that we just can't go around beating people up anymore. I didn't even participate in the last kill event. All right? It's just not realistically right. I destroy people when I hit them, and it's just not fair to those smaller players. That being said, how do those smaller players end up competing at Bunkers and Fortress and Capital Clash and SVS? How do they gain points? Well, they're so small, they're extremely limited. And then only the big players in their alliance are the ones that benefit. You need to join a larger alliance that helps the smaller players within their alliance, or you need to merge 2 or 3, dump that dead weight, those dead accounts. Don't worry about where your battle power ends up. Dump those dead accounts, bring in a whole nother alliance. It's been done, it works, and it's the right path to go down. When we talk about, what am I thinking about? Yeah, when we talk about all the different things about merging alliances, we need to touch on the subject of allies. You're limited to 100 members in your alliance. And in our state, we still don't have a lot of tactile response with respect to allies. A true ally is somebody that if you yell help, they're coming to help you. Okay? Now, we've seen some examples of it. We've had some assholes in our state. We've had some other alliances take care of this issue. But this is the way it's going to have to be in the future. All right? So you need to start to recognize that these non-aggression pacts, they're worthless. And they're going to be worthless even longer. They certainly smother any chance of growth. And the reason that they do that is because you don't compete. You don't compete if you're not trying to save your ass. So you got to think about allies. So let's say you're already a large alliance, but you're not a powerful alliance. Well, maybe you should sit down and talk with some of the other alliances, see how your goals and ambitions and ideas fit and your personalities, and decide whether they're an ally or they're just another alliance. You have to take these things into consideration. If you don't, you're going to become desperate. And once you're desperate, it's too late. I would recommend everybody, you start now. You start now to avoid the fact that I can send 2 marches against you and you're out of there. I can, it doesn't matter if you have 1 million troops reinforcing you. If none of them are T11s, guess what? I did it during this most recent Capital Clash when we were running experiments on attack formations. Okay? E-Words did the same thing. I got to admit, I did lose against 1 million. But 2 solo marches, and I knocked out a 700,000. So, and I'm just going to continue to grow. So it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So you've got to think about these things. Quit being so narrow-minded. Quit wearing those blinders and quit, I can't say it any nicer, quit being an absolute jerk for personal gain. You know, you're an R5 and you're not doing something for the future of your alliance, then you should just be demoted and get the hell out. It's that simple. So mergers are important. Waiting until the last minute, that's stupid. All right. And there'll be no room at the table for you at the last minute. Trust me. You're doing a disservice to your members currently. You're slowing your current members from growing because they're not getting the hero gear. They're not getting the badges. You're not placing as high in the PZs. You're not doing as well at trap. You're not getting those bigger numbers. And you're not getting them because a couple big guys in your alliance get them all. You're letting somebody else screw you over, or you're screwing somebody else over. Find an alliance that suits you. Find an alliance that makes you comfortable. Find an alliance that has common goals. Find an alliance that isn't full of idiots and jerks. There are fun alliances in 469, but a couple of them are destined to die. There are strong alliances, but there are strong personalities in some of those alliances. There are strong alliances that are fun. 469, CAT, C-A-T. You'll find that we're a very fun group, but you need a group that fixes those problems and then in turn operates 24/7, multilingual, and welcomes you, helps you, gives you advice. Because those of us that are large in CAT will tell you exactly what's wrong. You may not like it. It may not be that it's something you can fix immediately, all right? But at least you know you can be on the right path. And that's sort of important. So, in short, it's time to think about mergers in this state. And it's time to think about forming allies, all right? Multiple alliances saying, I'm here to help you, I'm here to help you, I'm here to help you. And you're there to help me. So you've got to do those things. Find common ground. Find leadership that's experienced. Find an alliance that can stand up for you. Or merge with one, become one. You know, you're not going to be an R5 where you go. It's not going to happen. Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. I mean, theoretically, you should think of it like this. I'm an R5 of a rank 12 alliance. Why should I be the R5 of a rank 2, 3, or 4? How come I should do that? Does that make any sense? I failed already. That's why I'm the R5 of a rank 12 or 13. I'm not an R5 of a 4. I've already failed. I shouldn't be the leader. Accept your place in society, young man or woman, whichever one, right? Learn and grow and become an R5. In closing, my final statement is I hope that I didn't offend too many people. Please, if you disagree, enter it into the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions on that. I'd love to know why you think what I say may not be correct. That would be an interesting, that'd be an interesting process of trying to get from point to point. So with all of that said, please don't forget, subscribe, like, and comment. And I'm going to show you stats in my next video. Have a great day.